Welcome to page 26 of Accel packet number 4. On page 26, we're going to graph a linear equation. Let's start with a simple equation. Write this equation down at the top of your page. 3 times x minus 2 equals y. Our x is our input values. It represents the values we're going to put into the equation, and those values live on the x-axis. And we're allowed to select any x value on that x-axis, but we're going to keep it simple. Let's pick simple values. Let's start with picking a 0, then a 1, then a 2. Usually, you're required to pick a minimum of 3 values. Now, our output values. Our output values are our y values, and they live here in the second column. And those will be the values that live on the vertical y-axis. This is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. Now, we won't know the y values until we do a bit of work. Let's jot down the equation in the work area. 3 times x, whatever x is, take away 2 equals y. Let's start with our first x value. 3 times 0, take away 2. Please write down this work on your paper as well. Well, we know we have to multiply first, so 3 times 0 is 0, and we're going to take 2 away from that. 0 take away 2 gives us a negative 2 value. So our first output value is negative 2. We're going to plot the point 0, negative 2. That ordered pair, that x, y ordered pair, is our first solution to this particular equation. Let's go again with the 1. Let's input the 1 so we know we're working with 3 times x, take away 2. 3 times an x value of 1, take away 2. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. Take away 2. So our output value here is a positive 1 for this particular x value. So you can write that right here in the table, and as an ordered pair, it is 1, 1. One more to go. Let's put in an input value of 2. 3 times 2, we're putting in this value, take away 2 equals y. 6 take away 2 ends up being 4, an output value of 4. So our third and final ordered pair is 2, 4. Well, let's plot our 3 solutions. Our first solution is 0, negative 2. Starting at the origin, go over 0, which means we don't move at all, and down 2. That's the ordered pair 0, negative 2. Remember, the x controls the sideways movement, and the y controls your vertical movement. Now the next point is 1, 1. So starting at the origin, go over 1, up 1. We'll label that. And finally, your third solution is 2, 4. Starting at the origin, go over 2 and then up 4. You can see our 3 solutions align. They're starting to form the beginning of a line. Let's go back to our equation for a moment. We can see that the m value is 3. That's our slope. And written as a ratio, we would write that 3 as 3 over 1. That's our slope ratio, which means up positive 3 to the right 1. So if we put our pencil point on the point furthest to the left, we can see that very lightly we go up 3 over 1. That's our rate of change. Up 3 over 1. So that's going to continue. Up 3 over 1. And we run out of coordinate plane. We're kind of out of space. But we can reverse that and go in the other direction. Put your pencil point on that lowest point again and go over 1, down 3, and continue that stair-step pattern. Over 1, down 3, until we fill up the grid with the points that all align. Now we're ready to connect the dots. If you happen to have a ruler, take your ruler now and run a nice straight line through all the dots. If you don't, perhaps use the edge of a notebook. Once you've got your line drawn, place arrowheads on each end because the solutions continue on and on forever in each direction. And the final touch? Well, take your original equation and you label the line either above or below 3x minus 2 equals y. Now we know the slope, of course, is 3. But on a side note, our b value is -2. That -2 is our y-intercept. And notice we are anchored right here. Our line is anchored right at a -2. Knowing that 3 is the slope, and knowing that -2 is our anchor point will help us move a little bit more quickly on the next problem. Make sure you've taken down all the notes for this particular problem. When you're ready, if you need to pause the video, do so. But when you're ready, let's move on to the second graph. On this lower coordinate plane for number 2, we're going to graph 2 times every x, or our input values, plus 1 equals y. But we're going to eliminate the work of the table. We're going to use a few clues we picked up on, on our last problem. We know mx plus b equals y means that the 2 is your m value and the plus 1 represents your y-intercept or your b value. So let's use that to graph this particular equation. In the work area, write m equals 2. And then next to it, make it into a ratio, 2 over 1. That's a positive 2, so we're going to go up 2, and that's a positive 1, so we will go to the right 1. That's the rate of change. Now our B value is a positive 1. That is our y-intercept. Please take down these notes. And that's where our line will be anchored on the y-axis. So let's begin. Go ahead and place your pencil point at 0. Hop up to positive 1 and make a nice solid dot, anchoring our line at positive 1. So far, so good. Now, place your pencil point on that anchor and let's rise up 2 blocks and run to the right 1. Go up 2, over 1, make a nice solid dot at 1, 3. That's a solution to this particular equation. Let's do it again. Up 2, over 1, make another solid dot at 2, 5. That's another solution to this equation. And we've got room for one more. Up 2, over 1, make a nice solid dot at 3, 7. Now let's go back to our original green dot and continue the staircase downward. Go over 1 and down 2 and make a nice solid dot at -1, 1. That's a solution to this particular equation. Continue the staircase pattern downward. Make a dot at -2, -3, and continue down the coordinate plane until you run out of space. All these purple dots are solutions to this particular equation, and they would be found on this table if we created a table. Now, grab your ruler and connect the dots. With a nice straight line, you are representing the solutions, the infinite number of solutions to this particular equation. With arrowheads on each end, you're indicating that these solutions go on forever and ever. And your final step is to label it with the equation. 2 times x plus 1 equals y. When you're done, take a picture of your work and submit it for a grade. Make sure you have all the notes written down. This concludes page 26 in Accel packet number 4.